You know, sometimes we get so excited about our dreams that we start telling everyone about them. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to lose weight this year. I'll write a book soon. And people clap. They encourage you. They say, wow, that's amazing. But have you noticed that after telling everyone, that same fire inside you starts to fade? It's as if the energy that was supposed to build your dream escaped through your words. My friends, some goals are meant to be shown, not spoken. Because when you tell the world too early, you receive validation before you've earned the victory. So today, let's talk about why the wisest people work silently, move humbly, and let their results speak louder than their plans. When we share our goals with others, something very interesting happens inside our brain. Neuroscientists call it the dopamine effect. The moment you say out loud, I'm going to start working out, or I'm planning to launch my own business, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that it releases when you actually achieve the goal. It gives you a small taste of the victory before you've earned it. You feel proud, you feel motivated, you feel like you've already done something great. But here's the catch. That tiny hit of happiness tricks your brain. It makes you believe that you've made progress when in reality, you've only ever talked about progress. And slowly, that fire inside you, that hunger that pushes you to wake up early, to fight distractions, to work late when everyone else is asleep, it starts to fade. Because your mind already got its reward. You've satisfied your desire by announcing it instead of achieving it. Think about it. How many times have you told someone your plans with great excitement and then never really followed through? It's not because you weren't serious. It's because your brain felt that little rush of pride and decided the mission was already complete. It's like opening a gift before the occasion. You lose the excitement of the real moment. Great achievers understand this deeply. They don't seek praise before the work is done. They keep their ambitions close to their heart, not because they're secretive, but because they're protective. They know that the more they talk, the less they do. The more they announce, the less energy remains to act. When you keep your goals private, that desire builds inside you. It becomes stronger, more focused, more disciplined. You wake up every morning with something to prove, not to others, but to yourself. And when you finally achieve it, that success tastes so much sweeter because it wasn't borrowed from applause. It was earned through effort. So the next time you feel tempted to tell the world what you're about to do, pause for a moment. Smile silently. Let that excitement stay within you. Let it grow quietly until it becomes unstoppable. Because real success doesn't come from saying, I will. It comes from reaching a day where you can finally say, I did. Every goal begins with a spark, a small flame inside your mind. That flame is your energy, your motivation, your drive. But here's what most people don't realize. Every time you talk about your goal, every time you explain your plan, every time you seek validation, you release a little bit of that energy into the world. Words are powerful. They don't just communicate, they transfer energy. And when that energy escapes through your words, there's less left inside you to actually build what you've dreamed of. Imagine you're holding a balloon filled with air. The more you speak about your dreams, the more tiny holes you poke into it. Bit by bit, the air leaks out. Eventually, the balloon deflates, and what was once full of potential now lies empty. That's what happens to your motivation when you keep talking instead of working. You waste the very fuel that was meant to push you forward. The people who achieve great things, they understand this law of silence. They guard their inner energy like treasure. They don't speak too much about what they're going to do. They don't waste time explaining their dreams to everyone. They channel every ounce of that energy into action, not conversation. Because they know the louder you talk, the quieter your results become. When you keep your goals private, your energy stays concentrated. It doesn't scatter through unnecessary discussions, opinions, or explanations. It becomes like a laser beam, focused, intense, and unstoppable. Silence creates direction. It transforms random motivation into disciplined movement. But when you talk too much about what you plan to do, your mind gets distracted. You start imagining people's reactions, their approval, their admiration, and in that daydream, your energy leaks. Instead of using that power to make progress, you use it to build fantasies. It feels good in the moment, but it drains the strength you need for the real work. Think about a seed. When it's planted, it grows in silence. No one hears it breaking through the soil. No one applauds its effort, but it keeps pushing quietly, steadily, until one day it becomes a tree. That's how your dreams should grow. Not with noise, not with attention, but with quiet persistence. Your words can either create your future or consume your energy, so choose wisely. Every time you're tempted to explain your next move, remember, your strength lies not in how loudly you speak about your plans, but in how silently you execute them. Let your energy build. Let your silence protect it. Because when the time is right, the world won't need an explanation. They'll see the result and they'll understand everything. When you share your goals with others, you assume they will see what you see, but they rarely do. You might have a clear vision, something that feels alive in your heart, something that keeps you awake at night with excitement. But to others, it's just an idea, a sentence, a dream they cannot fully understand. They don't see the fire behind your eyes or the meaning behind your plan. They only hear the words, and sometimes their response can unintentionally dim your light. You tell someone, "I want to start my own business," and they say, "Are you sure? It's risky." You share, "I want to move to another city," and they ask, "But what if it doesn't work out?" They don't mean harm, but their words plant tiny seeds of doubt in your mind. And once doubt enters, confidence begins to weaken. Suddenly, your once bright dream starts to feel uncertain, not because it lost its power, but because someone else couldn't see what you saw. The truth is, not everyone is capable of understanding your vision because it wasn't shown to them. It was shown to you. The ideas in your mind are like sacred blueprints given only to you to build. When you hand those blueprints to others, they might not read them correctly. They might suggest changes, remove pieces, or question the design. And before you know it, your vision doesn't look like yours anymore. It's been reshaped by opinions. Every visionary, every dreamer, every creator faces this. People laughed at those who thought differently. They doubted those who dared to dream big. When someone can't imagine your dream, it's not their fault. It's simply beyond their level of understanding. Your responsibility is not to convince them. Your responsibility is to continue building, even when nobody else believes in what you see. Sometimes people's doubts come from their own fears. When they say, "You can't do that," what they're really saying is, "I couldn't do that." They project their limitations onto your possibilities. And if you're not careful, you'll start carrying their fears like your own. That's why it's so important to protect your vision. Keep it safe, keep it sacred, keep it personal until it becomes strong enough to stand on its own. When your dream is young, it's fragile. It doesn't need exposure, it needs protection. Just like a small plant needs to grow roots before facing the wind, your vision needs quiet time to take hold inside you. Once it's deeply rooted, then you can share it with the world. But if you expose it too early, the world's doubts can uproot it before it grows. So don't expect everyone to understand. Don't wait for others to agree. Don't seek approval from those who were never meant to walk your path. Keep walking. Let your results explain the vision they couldn't see. Because one day, when your dream becomes reality, those same people who once questioned you will say, "I always knew you could do it." And you'll smile, not out of pride, but out of peace, because you'll know that you didn't need their understanding to begin. You only needed your belief to continue. When you share your goals openly, you also open yourself to the energy of others, and not all of it is supportive. Some people will genuinely wish you well. They'll pray for your success. They'll cheer for you from the heart. But others, consciously or unconsciously, may project negativity, envy, or doubt toward your dreams. You might not see it, you might not hear it, but you can feel it. That subtle heaviness that creeps in after you tell someone your plans. That's the weight of energy you didn't need to carry. Every dream requires focus, peace, and clarity. But when you start discussing your goals with too many people, you also start collecting their opinions, judgments, and emotional energy. Someone might say, "That's too hard." Another might question, "Do you really think you can do it?" And while these might seem like harmless statements, they echo in your mind. They become whispers that distract you in moments of doubt. You start thinking less like a creator and more like a defender, constantly justifying why your dream makes sense, why your idea isn't foolish. And that mental battle consumes the energy that was meant for your progress. You see, energy is contagious. If you're surrounded by people filled with fear, doubt, or envy, it's only a matter of time before you start feeling the same. That's why silence is not just discipline, it's protection. It shields your goals from vibrations that can weaken your spirit before your work has even begun. There's a reason why the most successful people work quietly for years and only speak once the results are undeniable. They understand that privacy is power. When you protect your goals, you're not being secretive, you're being wise. You're guarding something sacred. Because not everyone clapping for you is happy for you. Some clap to appear kind while hoping you fail. Some want to see your plans only so they can measure their own. And others simply don't have the emotional capacity to celebrate someone else's growth. That's just human nature. Not everyone will have the heart to wish you well. But when you keep your vision to yourself, you stay untouched by that energy. You remain in control of your focus. You move in silence, so no one can interfere, criticize, or drain your motivation. You don't give people the chance to place their fears onto your dream. You protect your peace, your plan, your purpose. Even in spiritual traditions, this wisdom runs deep, that what is sacred should be kept hidden until it's ready to reveal itself. A fruit doesn't grow in the open on day one. It stays hidden inside the flower, protected, nourished, unseen. Only when it's ripe and strong enough does it face the world. Your goals deserve the same kind of protection. Let them grow in the dark. Let them strengthen in silence. Let them mature away from the noise of opinions. And when the time is right, when your actions have turned into results, you won't need to defend your dream. You won't need to prove anything. The same people who once questioned your silence will witness your success, and in that moment, your results will speak louder than any words could have. Protect your energy, protect your peace, and remember, not every ear deserves to hear your vision, and not every heart can handle your light. Silence has a power that noise can never match. When you stop talking about what you're going to do and start quietly working on it, something profound begins to happen inside you. Your focus sharpens. You no longer waste energy explaining, convincing, or defending your dreams. All your mental strength, all your emotional fuel starts flowing in one direction, forward. When you tell people your goals, your mind splits into many pieces. One part of you is working, another part is wondering what others think, another is rehearsing explanations for your choices, and another is reacting to their opinions. But when you choose silence, all those scattered parts return to one place within you. You become whole again, centered, grounded, and clear about what truly matters. In silence, your goals stop being a performance for the world and start becoming a commitment to yourself. You no longer act for validation, you act from purpose. You don't chase praise, you chase progress. And in that quiet commitment, your discipline grows stronger. You stop getting distracted by applause or criticism because both come from outside, and your journey is happening inside. Focus isn't about doing 1,000 things, it's about doing one thing with your full heart. Silence makes that possible. It removes the noise of the world, the comparisons, the doubts, the endless chatter, and allows you to hear your own inner voice. That voice that says, keep going. You're getting there. Don't stop now. When you work silently, your mind becomes like still water, calm, reflective, and deep. Every action becomes intentional. Every hour becomes sacred. You stop wasting time explaining your direction and start using that time to walk it. You begin to realize that focus isn't something you find, it's something you protect. You protect it by saying less, by showing less, by surrounding yourself with peace instead of noise. And something magical happens when you operate in silence. Your results begin to surprise people. They wonder, when did you do this? How did this happen? They didn't see the process because you were too focused living it. You weren't posting it, announcing it, or seeking approval for it. You were busy becoming it. In silence, there are no distractions, no outside timelines, no unnecessary expectations. There's only you and the work, and that intimacy between effort and outcome builds momentum like nothing else can. Every small progress you make becomes a private victory that strengthens your spirit. You don't need anyone to clap for you because you start clapping for yourself quietly, humbly, gratefully. The world we live in celebrates noise. People announce every plan, every step, every little success. But true growth doesn't need an audience. It needs consistency. It needs focus. It needs silence. The greatest transformations always happen in stillness. The caterpillar becomes a butterfly in silence. The seed becomes a tree in silence. The night turns into dawn in silence. Your mind, too, needs that silence to evolve. Because in that quiet space, distractions fade, clarity appears, and your purpose becomes louder than any applause ever could. So choose silence, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have something to build. And one day, when your results speak, the world will finally understand the power of the silence that raised you. There's a deep truth about human nature. People are moved not by what you say, but by what you do. You can tell the world 1,000 times that you're going to change, improve, or achieve something great, but words don't create impact. Actions do. The world listens more carefully to results than to promises. Announcements create attention for a moment, but actions create respect for a lifetime. Think about it. Anyone can say, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to get fit, or I'll make something of my life. Those words are easy, almost effortless. They require no risk, no sacrifice, no sweat. But the person who silently wakes up every day before dawn, works through exhaustion, fails, learns, tries again, and slowly builds something real, that person doesn't need to say anything. Their actions already speak volumes. People often confuse talking about change with making change. Talking feels satisfying. It gives a sense of movement without the discomfort of effort. But real change is silent. It happens in the small, unseen choices you make when no one is watching. It's forged in discipline, not discussion. The ones who make the biggest difference rarely announce what they're doing. They just do it. And when their results appear, the world notices without needing an explanation. Actions have a frequency that words can't match. When people see you living your truth instead of preaching it, they feel inspired, not because you told them what to do, but because you showed them what's possible. You become a living example, not a loud promise. That's the quiet strength of action. It doesn't demand attention. It attracts it. When you act, you build credibility with yourself. Every small step you take is a promise kept, a bit of trust earned within your own mind. But when you keep talking without acting, that inner trust breaks. You start to doubt yourself. You start to feel like you're living in your words, not in your reality. The gap between what you say and what you do becomes a weight on your spirit. Silence frees you from that burden. When you act quietly, you build real progress without the pressure of living up to an image. The beauty of letting action speak is that it removes the noise of approval. You're no longer driven by what others think. You're driven by what feels right. You don't waste time performing motivation. You live it. And because you aren't distracted by proving anything, your results become stronger, cleaner, and more authentic. Think of the most inspiring people you know. They didn't announce every move. They didn't post their plans. They were too busy becoming something worth noticing. Their stories inspire not because they said they would succeed, but because they did. When their work reached the world, it carried power, purpose, and authenticity that no amount of talk could replace. So, if you truly want to inspire others, stop trying to impress them with your plans. Let them see the power of your quiet effort. Let your success speak, and let your silence add depth to it. The truth is, people might doubt your words, but they can never doubt your results. Actions speak in a language that everyone understands, clear, undeniable, and timeless. Be the person who doesn't have to say, "Watch what I'll do." Just do it. Let the work reveal itself. Let the transformation be visible through your behavior, your growth, your progress. When people witness your consistency, they'll be inspired not by your speeches, but by your strength. Because the loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. The one who moves quietly, steadily, and purposefully leaves the greatest mark. So keep building, keep acting, keep moving forward. Not for applause, but for alignment. The world doesn't need to hear your plans, it needs to see your proof. When you fail privately, it's easier to rise again. It's easier to breathe, to reflect, to learn, and to move forward without the heavy eyes of the world watching. But when you fail publicly, when everyone knows what you were trying to do, that failure begins to feel heavier than it actually is. It's not just your personal disappointment anymore. It becomes a performance of shame. You start to carry not only the weight of your mistake, but also the imagined judgments of others. That emotional load can paralyze your growth. Failure by nature is meant to be a teacher, not a punishment. It's supposed to shape you, not shatter you. But when too many people are involved in your journey, their reactions turn your lessons into fear. You start hesitating, overthinking, second guessing yourself. You worry not about what went wrong, but about what people will say. And that fear of judgment becomes more dangerous than the failure itself. When your goals are private, your failures are private too. You can fall quietly, learn quietly, and rise quietly without the unnecessary noise of opinions, sympathy, or ridicule. You get the space to process what happened with honesty, without the pressure of saving face. You can fail with grace instead of embarrassment. That privacy gives you freedom. The freedom to experiment, to take risks, to make mistakes that help you grow. Because you're not performing for an audience, you're evolving for yourself. Think about it. Every great success story has a series of failures hidden behind it. Failures that the world rarely sees. Most of those failures happened in silence, when no one was watching. That's how growth works. A child falls hundreds of times before walking, but we don't remember the falls. We only remember the steps. The same is true for your dreams. The fewer people who witness your stumbles, the more courage you have to keep walking. When you share your goals too early, you unknowingly build a stage around your effort. And the moment you fall, that stage becomes a spotlight. People start watching not out of support, but out of curiosity. Some might feel secretly relieved that you didn't make it. Others might pity you, which can sting even more than criticism. But when no one knows, no one comments, you're free to fail, learn, and try again as many times as it takes, without shame, without eyes, without whispers. Failure in private allows reflection. It lets you ask, what did I learn? Instead of, what will people think? That shift changes everything. You stop fearing failure and start understanding it. You begin to see mistakes as stepping stones instead of setbacks. And that mindset, the ability to fail forward without fear, is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. There's also something deeply peaceful about private resilience. When you rise again after a quiet fall, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to justify your process. You simply keep moving. And that quiet consistency, that humble persistence builds strength that public validation never could. So, don't be afraid to fail. Just fail wisely. Fail where your heart can heal, where your thoughts can breathe, and where your spirit can reset. Protect your process from the noise of the world. Let your setbacks be your secret teachers. Because one day, when you succeed, no one will see how many times you fell. They'll only see how strong you've become. That's the beauty of private failure. It gives you the space to transform pain into power without losing your peace. It keeps your spirit unbroken, your purpose clear, and your confidence rooted in truth, not in applause. Fail in silence, learn in silence, and rise in silence. Because the world doesn't need to witness your struggle to respect your success.